Joining us now from his district in Southwest Florida is Republican Congressman Byron Donalds. Congressman, just start out the same place. I want to give you an opportunity to what you saw in Minnesota and what your colleagues said about the shooting.
Well, first of all, look, let's be clear. Nobody wants to see any American lose their life like this. Nobody wants to see that. But we also have to be honest about what's happening in Minneapolis. You have paid agitators. You have a coordinated protesting operation going on in Minneapolis for the sole purpose of doxing ICE officers, impeding ICE officers, stopping them from following and executing federal law. My Democratic colleagues don't care about federal law because when Joe Biden was president of the United States, they allowed him to bastardize asylum claims, basically allow more than 10 million people into the country illegally and put them in court hearings, which won't occur for 7 to 10 years. And if you talk to Border Patrol agents, these people don't even show up. These illegal aliens don't even show up for the first hearing. About 5% show up for the hearings. So this is a sham on the American people. So when President Trump, who, by the way, won a political mandate to deport criminal illegal aliens, when he goes to execute that mandate on behalf of the American people, what do you see? You see Democrat leadership who are using terrible language about these ICE officers in the beginning, calling them Gestapo, calling them the SS, to raise emotions, to raise outrage. And then you have these paid for, astroturfed front group operations happening in the city of Minneapolis. That has created a powder keg. That powder keg was not created by following federal law. It was followed by Democrat leadership and, quite frankly, Democrat billionaires who want to do one thing, and that's stop Donald Trump.
I want to clarify. You're not saying that Mr. Preddy was a paid agitator or an outside insurgent who was brought in to Minnesota, right?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that what people are seeing on their phones and on news networks around the country is the result of paid protests and paid agitators. That's what I'm saying. And so we're already starting to see some information about a high-level coordinated effort to follow these ICE officers. And now you've had 2 Americans lose their lives as a result of that. And also, let's create the dichotomy. In Florida, we're completely cooperating with ICE in the state of Florida. You're not seeing not even just the crazy protests or the agitated protests. You're not seeing, obviously, these issues in Florida like you're seeing in Minnesota. And that's because Governor Walz and Democrat leadership in Minnesota want nothing more than to create a political powder keg so they have an opportunity to win elections in the future.
Okay, so there's been a lot of reporting on the tensions within Department of Homeland Security. Kristi Noem has reportedly sidelined the president's border czar, Tom Homan, and the ICE director in favor of Bavino because Homan, it's reported, wants the targeted enforcement and not these high visibility raids. I want to read to you what conservative commentator Eric Erickson said about it. Quote, "It's not just Tim Walz and Jacob Fry driving these tensions. It is a policy choice made by the Secretary of Homeland Security and those around her because they thought it would make for great coverage." How do you respond to Erickson's characterization?
No, I can't respond to Eric's characterization because somebody's probably giving him information that I don't have. What I will say is this. You have Democrat leadership who are saying that these communities are being invaded. That is simply not true. It is not constitutional. It is not following the law. The federal government, when the Constitution was ratified, was given enumerated powers that also include security of the nation and naturalization. State officials have a responsibility to cooperate with federal law enforcement, which does include ICE. What they are doing right now, in my view, is they're not upholding their oaths to the Constitution. And then they're foaming this, they're creating this unrest, which is now having citizens who are in these streets who are going after these ICE agents. They are trying to take full videography of these ICE agents and photography. And unfortunately, what we have now seen is 2 Americans have lost their lives simply because Democrats don't have a policy platform for the American people. All they know how to do is create unrest with the American people.
Okay, a new poll suggests that a growing number of Republicans are uneasy with the tactics, as many as 1 in 5 Trump voters from 2024. Here's what your fellow Florida Republican Maria Salazar said. ICE should focus on the bad hombres. The bad hombres, that's it, not the cleaning ladies. One thing is the gardeners, another thing is the gangsters. One thing is the cooks, the other thing is the coyotes. It seems like there is real division inside the Republican Party over these tactics at this point. Is that true?
I think there's disagreements within the party, but I think we also have to be realistic about where we are. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, Joe Biden let in more than 10 million people into our country. All of them were put into some quasi process that is, frankly, does not follow federal law. So what is a new administration supposed to do? Just sit there and not actually take action? No, that's inappropriate. You have to go through the process of deporting criminal illegal aliens. That is what the Trump administration is doing. We should also note that the Department of Homeland Security has reported that more than 2 million illegal aliens have self-deported. They made a decision to return to their home countries on their own. If you look at Homeland's numbers, that's more than, now we're up to about 2.6 to 2.7 million illegal aliens have either chosen to self-deport or have been deported by ICE. And so if you look at where the country was in 2024, the American people were frustrated that our borders were wide open, that fentanyl was killing our people. Going through this process of removing criminal illegal aliens was never going to be simple and never going to be easy. But it makes it far more difficult when you have Democratic leadership in Washington and in these states decide they want to make a political point and a political spectacle so they can win elections in the midterms and beyond.
Okay, very quickly, part of what Congresswoman Salazar may be bothered by is that the Trump administration has reversed some longstanding protections for Cuban immigrants who were previously treated more as refugees from the Castro regime. New York Times says 1,600 Cubans were sent back in 2025. I'm old. I remember the outrage about Elian Gonzalez. I get the upset here. What do you say to Cuban Americans in Florida who say that this is too much?
Well, look, first to the Cuban Americans, obviously in Florida and around the country, we stand by you because your asylum claims, in my view, are 100% valid. Because the Castro and then now the continued regime in Cuba, the communist regime, has been destructive of human liberty on the island of Cuba. So I stand by them 100%. I think if you're going to talk about some who have been sent back, it really depends on when they came to the United States and what was the process. If they came in through the years of Joe Biden, we don't really know what that process was because what they did was so unlawful and did not follow federal law. It is the #1 reason why Donald Trump swept the battleground states and won a political mandate to get border security and illegal immigration under control.
We have to go. We are grateful to you. All right, America, if you were enjoying sunshine and a high of 83 degrees in Rainbow Groves, Florida today, you would know him already. But if you don't, there he is, Congressman Byron Donalds. We thank you.